everybody, I'm back. I'm back and I'm in a lot better mood. A bit of a better mood. I don't think Tiger Woods is in a good mood. I think he shot an 82 yesterday. Holy crap, 82. This means that I could have beaten Tiger Woods. But maybe not in the Masters course. But anyway, 82. And I think he's plus 15 right now. This is terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I'm in a better mood right now. Let's get this watch back and running. So I've got the new balance staff in the bag here, and I've got the old balance staff right here. And what I think I want to do before I install this is have a peek at it under the microscope to make sure that this is the right balance staff. It looks to be a little bit too small, which is not good. So I'm going to do some measurements, but I'm going to take a look under the microscope first to see if I've got how far off this is, if it's in fact off. So I put the balance staff side by each next to the old one. It actually looks pretty darn good. Just eyeballing it from here, I think we've got the right staff. So I think we're good. We're going to try to do the installation here. And if the pivot sizes are right, that's a blessing. And if they're not, well, we'll just deal with that as the next problem. Alrighty then. So what I'm going to do here is use the old staff for fitting this. So I actually don't know whether this is a friction staff or not. So if it's not a friction staff, then I've got to find the right hole here to put this in. So and I can do that pretty quickly by just using the existing staff without any stress. So I'm simply doing some fitting here. It looked like when the old staff was taken off, there was a rim left over. And I'm just not sure what that rim was all about, but I think that was probably leftovers from the old staff. I'm not sure though, so I'm going to drop this down and see what the fit is here. Yeah, there we go. This is not friction fit. So this is staked on and not friction fit. So I'm doing it the right way. So now I have to find a rounded stake now so they can spread the rivet over the top. So we'll go fit stakes. So here I have my staking set over here, and I've got a bunch of stakes. Some of them are rounded, some of them aren't. Got a little Bergeron cannon pinion tightening device there. And then I've got the balance sitting there above the new staff, so I've got to find a rounded stake in here that just fits over the shaft of the balance staff and down to where the rivet is to do the riveting. Again, I'm going to remove this and then use the old staff for fitting. So I want the fitting to be absolutely perfect. So I can take the balance off and just set that aside. Take the new balance staff and set that aside very carefully and just mindful of where the pivots are. And then take the old staff and put that in place. I'm hoping that's the right hole here to put that in. Like that. And then I can use various rounded staffs like this to go down, because I have to form the rivet, but I just want it to go over the top of that staff. So some of these are way too small, right? And others aren't. So we'll just see if we can fit that properly. Alright, this stake looks like it fits perfectly, but I'm going to have to take that out and have a look at if there's any side shake on that, because right now it looks pretty good. It looks like it goes down and fits in nicely. But again, is it too... This might be too tight as it gets down to the bottom part of this, right? So, and you want to be able to get to the bottom and then stake it on and not have it stick. And again, it's got to be a rounded stake. So this looks pretty good. And I'm just checking the angles here and see how deep does this go. And it goes all the way in there. So that might be the right stake. And you also need, after you've tapped it down, you need a flat stake as well. So let me have a look at this stake here. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's looking pretty darn good. And now I'm going to put this, I'm just going to take the old staff, and just put it into the back of the stake. It's actually funny, it went all the way down before and now it's not going in at all. How is that possible? I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. So there's no end shake at all in this. So this goes all the way down to the rivet. So this might be absolutely perfect. Now I've got to pick a flat one. So let's put this back carefully, and this is the old balance staff. And I just have to make sure the old balance staff fits perfectly. Wrong hole. And just let's get that old balance staff back in place here. You play with it for a while, that way it looks like I'm fumbling, right? Fumble, fumble, fumble. But again, this is the old balance staff, so I'm not really concerned with this one here. Got to put it in the right way, though. There we go there, and then I think I just missed it by one. I did. So you have to mark it or do something to make sure you actually put it in the right hole. There we go. And this should be aligned, but I'm going to check again later on to make sure this is perfect alignment. So there we go there. So that's perfect. So now I got to pick a flat one as well, because you're trying to spread the rivet and then use the flat one there to tap it down, right? So you have a perfect rivet. And I think I found the right flat one. And that is that was actually the first one I picked, which is always amazing when you're doing this kind of stuff and you're saying, hey, wait a second now, why is this the first one I picked? So that's that there, and I pull this out. Is that too tight or too loose or what? It might be too tight, actually, because I'm having a hard time getting the staff off of the stake off of the staff. So, but I'm going to go down again here, and I just want to see how much. No, it's going all the way down over the rivet and everything. So, which is, I think, where you want it. You want it to be deep enough that it goes down the shaft, and it's effectively going to be level with the rivet, but it might be too small, or too big rather. No, I've checked it and I think it's perfect. If you look at that, it rides down the shaft right to where the balance would be, and there's absolutely no end shake or side shake there at all. So this again is the perfect one as well. So now I've got both stakes are perfect. And so I can get my staking set out of the way and start the riveting process. There, now to rivet this on properly, I just move my whole rig over a bit so it's focusing. I'm going to just make sure the new balance staff is lined up properly and this thing goes over nicely and doesn't jam. So I think that's good there. Doesn't seem to have any jamming going on. Now what I'll do is tap that down and then rotate it and then tap it down and rotate it. So that's how you do it. And let's just get on with it. And just to tell you the truth, this stuff always scares me. I don't know why, but it does. I've got the old balance staff here, and I'll just put that in the tray. Every time I do this, it scares me. So other watchmakers out there can comment on if they're afraid too at times. So there's my hammer, the hammer time, and I've tightened that up. So all I need to do is tap down and turn. So let's get on with it. Tap, and then turn. Tap and then turn. I'm going to have a look and see if it's spreading the rivet at all. I think it's doing something. Let's just keep tapping and turning. Eventually this rivet will grab that arm, but sometimes it takes a while. I may take my tweezers and have a peek here and see what this looks like. Starting to spread it, I can see. Well, keep working on it. Taking way longer than I thought it would. Well, keep pounding on it. It's not rattling now. I'm going to have a look here. Well, I can see it spreading it. It's almost where it's going to be friction fit in a second here. So I'm going to keep going here. Geez, this thing is taking some work. It's almost there. I can see it almost there. Oh my God. So close, but so far. Keep going. Still slightly loose here. I'm looking down on the rivet here. That rivet needs to catch eventually. Wow. Let me see what I got here now. Still not catching. How much spread do I have left here? It looks like it's almost spread enough. I may be able to use the flat part now and then flatten it out. Let's see. You see how far down it's going here. Because I think maybe the flat part is what I got to use now. Yeah, I think I got to go in with the flat part, and then that spreads the rivet out. So I don't think it'll catch unless I flatten it. I don't know, maybe a little tiny bit more. Before I've done this, and it just kind of grabbed it right away. And it spread it out enough. This is digging in pretty deep here. I did not think it would have to go down this far before the rivet would catch. So if I look down on it now, yeah, I can still see there's some rounded parts there. So let me just tap it some more. Wow. If I spread that out, is it going to work? That's the question. That is the question. So I go down on this with this, and there's a little edge rim, and if I hit that down, is that going to spread that rivet enough to secure the balance? I'm just darn surprised. I can see the concave in it right now, and it looks like it's enough. But darn it if it's not gonna. I'll bet you any money if I hit this with the flat one, then it's gonna work. I'll bet you any money. Let me look down again here. I'm gonna perhaps try this. So I spread the rivet, but it was pretty loose in there. So what I did was I got a stake that's a little bit larger than the one that I had in, so it would get the edges of the rim of the rivet, right? So I'm just tapping this down until it's solid in there, and it's starting to become solid, so which is good. So let me just give a couple more taps here. And then I can turn this like this, and then a couple more taps, and then turn it, and a couple more taps. And then to test it, you put a little bit of pressure on the top of the stake and the staking set, and you try to turn this. And if it doesn't want to turn, it's doing well. And if I look down right now, I can see the rivet is starting to spread nicely. So it's in there nicely. So I'm going to tap down on this once again. I'm going to convince it again to go wider. So it's starting to stick, which is nice. So let me just a couple more taps. And I'm trying to see exactly how far down the stake is going. Right, if I look at the actual stake, it's still hitting the rivet, which is good. So I'm still spreading the rivet, which is nicely. So, and you don't want to do it too much because you could damage the balance. So just do that, turn it, do that, turn it, do that, turn it, and do that, and turn it, do that, and then turn it. So I'm going to pull that up right now and have a look at it and see where I am. I think it's actually not too bad right now. So now what I would do, the finishing, I want to make sure that this thing is solid. So hold that with my tweezers just a bit. Watch out for the pivot and see if that turns at all. Doesn't seem to be turning. So we lower this again, like I said before. Put a little bit of weight on that, and then see if it turns when I'm putting weight straight down on that. And no, that is solid. That's in there nice and solid now. I'm not getting any movement at all on that, so that rivet is in there really good. So then the next thing you do, you just a couple more taps and turns like that. That should do. And now the finishing one is the flat one. So now it should be able to go right over the top, and that should spread the rivet even further. If I go down on that, I have a look at the crack. Just on sideways, I just look at how much do I have on the crack there. And that should be finishing. That's the finishing touch. Well, it seems like it's getting a little stuck there. I'll bring that up and have a look. And that is pretty darn good. So let me do that again and just do a bit of finishing here and lift that up like that. I think that's in solid now. And then one more tap to flatten that out again. And then I'll end it. That, my friends, should do the trick. Let me have a look here. Pull that straight up, so that's riveted in really well. So there we go. That is the staff riveted in. So I started with a round punch that would go right over the arm. That's where the spring would go for the balance. And then I went for a slightly larger rounded stake. This one here. So they're very close in size, right? But the slightly rounded one then let me take the outer rim that was created by the smaller one and then spread it out even further until I've got it nicely caught in there. So that's pretty much done. And now I've got to put on the roller table and hopefully the roller table and the safety roller. So both of those have to go on now. So I'm going to do a little bit of research on how I want to do that, because I'm going to be able, I have to press those ones in. And what I can do, because this is a reversal staking set, I can actually use this stake here, right, inside of one of the holes here to do that. So let me set that up. So what I found out is that the roller table is the impulse jewel of the roller table is on the same side as a little red mark I made there. So I looked at my past video to see what the story was there, and that is on the same side. So I have to pick this up here, and in this case I just need to turn this around, turn this like that, and then this is a reverso staking set, so I should be able to throw that stake right down that hole. Throw the old stake right down the old hole. That's what I'm going to do. And then this allows me to basically put this on, like I'm going to be putting it on like this, right, to allow me to sit this down perfectly. That way when I tap on the impulse jewel, it's going to be tapped down in the same place at the like that. So this is going on like that, and then the actual roller table, it's an odd looking roller table. Let me show you what this looks like. If we just put that down here for a second. That's the roller table. So that roller table would be on this side here, upside down. So that's the roller table. But what I do want to do is I want to find a stake that goes over the top of that without a problem. So we're going to go hunt for a flat stake that I can tap that roller table on with. Now you got to make sure everything is absolutely centered when you're doing this. So I'm still going to have to, even though I've got this stake going all the way through, I'm still going to need to center the this hole. So I just have to loosen that up and make sure the centering stake goes through nicely, and then tighten it like that, and then put the stake down. And I can use my old, again, I can use my old, this here to make sure I've got the right stake for the to go over the top of this, and I'm not playing games with the staking size. So why don't we do that? So just put this into one of the holes here. And just see how that just jumped out like a Mexican dancing roller table, or Mexican dancing balance staff. I've got it set in there, but I want to make sure it's centered once again so I can find the right stake to go over the top of this. So there we go. Just measure that out, and then excuse me, I'm going to grab this roller table by the impulse jewel and just put it away for now. So now I'm going to move this balance staff, this is the old one, one over, away from me. Go down like this, make sure that's centered, tighten it, and then get rid of that. And then I want to move that one over again. So this way you know what hole it's in, right? Move that one over. I went to this one here, but it was too tight. So it ensures that I've got the right size stake. So, and I think I tried this one here to go over the top, and it was like, it goes over down far enough. Nope. And you know what? I got the wrong side. So in this case here, I need to turn this thing around because I want it to go in this way, not the other way. So it's going to go in like that. And I want it to go all the way down to hit the balance. So once again, line it up. Make sure I take my time when I'm doing this stuff here. So I just made a little boo-boo there. So line that up, tighten it a bit, move it one over, like that. That's probably the one it should be in, actually. So I move it two over, and it almost fits. No, that's the one there. That's the one that'll fit straight down without any big problems. So I'm just going to line this one up again. Sorry about all of the adjusting and readjusting and everything, but you got to get it right. So, and all I'm trying to do is find the right stake size. I could take this and just go over the staking set and then start doing some trial and error with it, right? But that's the layman's way of doing this. I want to do it like a pro. So it turns out to be the one with the mark on it, which is pretty handy actually. Let me just put that down, line that up, tighten it, and put this down. And I just want to find a stake that goes over this perfectly. So let me just put this down like that. The hardest part of the job, I think, is over right now, and that's getting the balance onto the stake. So now I've got to line this up and pick the right flat stake that goes all the way over this, because you're going to be getting that. Okay, that's way too tight. Find another one. Let me see. You got to pick a flat one that's not going to cause me problems. Let me see. Is this one good? I'm just grabbing stakes here, and stake night. It's stake night. This one isn't fitting either. got to be pretty wide, I guess, to get through that. So let me grab another one. I grab this one here. This one should do. Oh my God, Jerry. This one's not fitting either. And I need an even bigger one. I'm looking at the stakes from the top to see which ones are gonna, which one is next. Try this one. Oh, okay, this one's gone over, which is nice. So now I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna grab this, the balance staff, probably from the base here, and turn that around and then drop it down into the hole. And see how much end shake I have. I have to put this down on the mat for a second, grab it, and then pull it up, and then drop it down. It looks too big. It's not that much too big. But it is too big. I want a smaller one. I want a smaller one, friends. Let me get this one here that I think is a bit smaller. I think it just got jammed up on the lip. There, look at that one. So I'm looking at this one and it's absolutely perfect. And all you want to do is be able to tap the roller table down. So that's this one's the winner, folks. So I've got two. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So that one's the winner. This one is the one I've got to put into the hole. So let's try that again. And there we go. I put that down into the hole here. And again, it wants to be, I want to try to make it as tight as I can. So do that and then put that down into the hole. And I think I will use my measuring stake to make sure that this is in fact up and down. So loosen that, then do that, and then tighten it again. There we go. So hopefully that's in the right position right there, because it's now tight. Now I have to look at the balance again, and I look at which side was that little mark on. It was on this side, and I said that the mark is on this side, right, and the roller table goes on the same side. So just rotate that like so, look at it again, and rotate it like this, and the roller table now will go facing me. That's like that. And I'd like the roller table to be at 90 degrees, right? 90 degrees. Now when I put this roller table on, facing me, I've got to make sure that it's 90 degrees to the arms of the balance, because that's where it was before. So I just have to put this roller table on top here, nice and easy, and I'm just hoping it goes on. But then when I rivet it down, it's got to go quite a distance. Well, there we go. So now it's stopping, which is perfect. So you want it to go down, and there's usually a little gap, and that's where it stops. And then once you have it like this, then you can eyeball 90 degrees. Now you can do that by looking down through the top of this whole rig to make sure it's at 90 degrees. If it's not at 90 degrees, then all you're doing is adjusting the hairspring just slightly. So I'm going to play with this until I think it's at 90 degrees. And the other thing you can do, I'm going to show you this because it's kind of funky, but the other thing you can do is you look through the hole. Let's see if I can do this. Well, there you go. So you look through there, and you can see whether that roller table is 90 degrees to the arm, and you can just tap it or adjust it ever so slightly with your tweezers. So that's another way of doing it. I'm going to look at the base of this thing here to make sure I'm lined up properly and it's not going to cause any big issues when I tap down. And I don't have to tap very hard, by the way. I just have to tap it a little tiny bit to get it down. That looks like 90 degrees there. Let's just look down again here and see what I've got. Man, that's not 90 degrees. It's friggin' close. Look at it again. Yeah, that's pretty darn close. So that's I believe 90 degrees to the angle here. And now when I go down with this here, this should go over that device and clear the jewel. You don't want that touching the jewel. So as I go down, I'm looking at the impulse jewel and making sure it's clear. It is pretty close to the impulse jewel. So if that is too close to the impulse jewel, then I can break the jewel when I tap it down. So I'm going to see if I can find something that'll allow me to tap that down. Yeah, that's pretty much 90 degrees. So if I can find the same size steak, but there's usually a crack in it that you can align, or a groove in it that you align with the impulse jewel so it doesn't break the impulse jewel when you press down. That looks like it's all the way down already, which is no good because that means it's not tight enough. I'm going to pick this up and have a peek. Yep. Let me take a look at this and see if it's down already, because is there anything left here at all? No, the darn thing is down already. Look at that. And that's down already, and that's just pressure fitting it down. So I'm not sure if that is good enough, because I may have to take this out, because I don't like the fact that it's down, but it hasn't been it actually hasn't been tapped yet, so that's no good. And if I look at this, that means it's a little bit wider than it needs to be, right? And I still have to fit the safety roller on the top as well. So let me have a look at this. I want to just take my tweezers and grab it and see if this thing's going to rotate with my tweezers. It does rotate ever so slightly. It's fairly tight on there, but it's just rotating just a bit, which I don't like. So my only solution there, I don't like to do this, but if I take this off, if I take it off and put a little tiny bit of shellac on the inside, that might hold it in place. The other way you can do with this, and just let me stop the video and I'll show you a special stake. So what I was thinking of using is there's a stake that's like a star, and you tap on that and it widens it. The problem with that is that this also could break this particular roller table because it's very thin on the edges. So I'd be afraid of breaking the roller table in this instance, so I don't think I will use that stake. So what I'll do is I'll just work this off of the balance very carefully, and then I'll see if I can put a little shellac on the base of this thing and then bring it down again. So I'm going to work this thing up like that, and then I'm going to put a little bit of shellac on the base of this and then bring it back down again. And that will probably allow me to, it'll stay in place if I do that. So let's try that out, because the other method scares me and there's no recovery from it. If you break that roller table, you're screwed, and it's almost tight enough to work without a problem, but not quite. So it's kind of touchy work, so touchy-feely work, I'll call it, right? So there it is there. So, and again, the stake in this case, let me just lift this up and look again, because I believe that the roller table needs to be on the same size as the red mark. Let me look at the red mark. There it is. So the roller table in this case is facing outward. So let me put this down again. I also want to see what the fit is for the safety on here before I do all this. And I know that the safety here, safety roller, has a concave part or a hold part, and that part faces the bottom. So I want to see if I need to actually shellac this one as well. See what the case is here. And of course I dropped it, and we'll pick that up again and try again here. Hang on. This is dainty work, folks. Dainty work. I'm going to push it down on my mat, and then I'm going to grab it. And I just want to rest it on the top, because I want to make sure that this is also not going to cause me duress when I put this on. So, and this faces the same direction as the impulse jewel. I may drop it again. I apologize if I do that, but I'm just resting it on the top, and I'm going to look at it sideways and see if there's any way this can be pounded on without a problem. So that one does, it looks like I could tap that down, but it's also really close to. With respect to tolerances, let me see if I can use a piece of Rodico to lift this thing up for me. There we go. So that's also super close with respect to tolerances. So I need to, definitely going to put some shellac on these and put them down with some shellac on them. So I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I know that the liquid shellac it's gold, Jerry. So I've got some right here, and I just have to use a needle to actually put some liquid shellac on the on this, and I just, guess what? I just happen to have a needle. Look at that, eh? The man's got a needle. So this is a pretty dainty work today, and I want to make sure the needle is clear of any liquids. So the first thing I'm going to do is jam that needle into Rodico here, like that. And I'm going to put some liquid shellac on the shaft of this here. And I'm not going to, and then I'm going to tap the table down. So what I'm going to do is face, get it to face me like that. I still would like to get a stake with a groove in it for the impulse jewel. So let me find out if I can find a groovy stake, as they call it, right? Groovy stake, groovy stake. All right, I found a groovy stake. So, and I'm hoping the groovy stake clears the impulse jewel, but I'm going to wait till I get this table on again. So let me put a little bit of shellac on here, right? Just a tad of shellac. So I know when this dries, it'll hold everything in place nicely. So I'm just going to just tends to want to grab a whole lot of shellac. I'm going to peel off some shellac and then put it on the edge of this. And then rotate it around and put some on the other edge. I'm actually going to grab some more, clean this off, grab some more, and then put it on the other edge. And then grab some more. And then put this on the other side. And then I also want to put a little bit of shellac on the top part to hold that safety roller on. And this stuff takes a while to dry, so I'm not too concerned about it, and I'm not too concerned about it leaking too much. because I can clean that up after. So let me just put a little on the top as well. There we go. So that should do. And this takes a long time to dry, so unless you apply heat to it. So I'm not too concerned about this drying up right now through this process. And what I want to do as well is double check that I'm putting this thing on the right side again, so which is on this side here. So I look at that, pull it up again, have a look again and see where the red mark is. Where's the red mark? There it is. And then the roller table fits on the same side as the red mark. So let me just put this down like that. There we go. Now I'm going to get the roller table out and just lay that down and try to make it 90 degrees. Chances of it being absolutely 90 degrees the first time is probably 0, but we're going to just lower that down like this. And that's pretty damn close to 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do is take my stake, the one I know that fits over the top, and just push that down just a bit with the stake here. And then I'm going to look at this and see how far off at 90 degrees I am. Oh man, that looks so close. I can barely tell if it's not 90 degrees. I may pull that off and have a look just before I stake it down. So if I have a look at that, it needs to go the other way just a bit. So let me grab it. I'm grabbing it in my hands with my tweezers here. It's hard to see, but I'm basically taking my tweezers here, and from the top it looks like it needs to go counterclockwise just a tad. Now I'm looking at it again from the top. That's good right there. I just touched it. So now I want to put that back in carefully. And when you're doing this, be super mindful of where the pivot is. Because if you screw this up, there's no repair. There's no coming home. There's no whatever if you screw it up. So let me do this, and I should be able to just push this straight down. And again, I'm keeping an eye on where the jewel is because I don't want the jewel to be in the way. So that's going straight down. And I don't think the jewel is kind of not being touched, but I'm going to get the other stake out with the groove in it and see if I can push that down, and the stakey with the groovy stake will definitely prevent the jewel from getting in the way here. So I can put that down like that and then tap it. So I'm going to tap this down, and it doesn't have to be tapped very hard. So that's that. Let me have a look at that. Does that look pretty good? Looked like it turned a bit on me here. I don't know how the heck it would turn. So I'm looking at it, and yeah, it did turn a bit. Oh darn. Let me see if I can actually rotate this with my screwdriver here, because it looks like it turned just a bit. And I can. Look at that. Geez, I think that's good there. I think that's good enough for government work, as they say, so that's good there. And I'm going to tap that again, or just drop the whole thing straight down. Just hang on. Don't stress anything. As you drop it, there should be no issue. Just pick it straight back up again. And the pivots are fairly strong. You just don't want to hit them hard. So, and I'm just going to put this back in again, like that. And I want to see if the stake still clears, right? This one here, because it seems to have gone a bit sideways when I put it down. I'm just looking to see if that stake clears the jewel. I think it does. There we go. So now I need to put the top one on, and I believe there's still shellac on that. So I'm going to just put that over the top and then tap it down. So let me just grab this one here, and I might be able to use the same stake without a problem. So I'm just going to put the second roller on, the safety roller, and it goes with the lip or the mouth facing downward. So I just dropped it. So now we've got to find it. It should be right here somewhere, because it's not, it couldn't have gone very far because I just dropped it straight down. So let me have a look. So that scared the living crap out of me, because I dropped it and it went straight. I thought it went straight down. I looked straight down. It wasn't there. So it always scares the crap out of me, these little tiny parts. So now I've got to put this on and line that up with the jewel. So this is also very tough to do. So let's just put this in here, and then I'm going to rotate it until it lines up with the jewel. And I dropped it. And put this on the mat and pick it up again. I could probably use Rodico to do this, and it wouldn't be as tricky, because the Rodico, you just have to get it from the top and then push it down. So maybe I'll use Rodico. Let me see if a Rodico will be easier to do than using tweezers, because tweezers are generally hard to do this with. There, it's now on the Rodico, and then I just have to line this up. So, and when I put this straight down, I'm just going to put it on for now. I might look down through the hole here to do this, so this could be tricky here. I apologize if you're not seeing this, but I got to look through the hole for a second as I'm doing this. Alright, so I'm looking through the hole to align it, and I hit it again, it jumped right off. So we'll start that again. So I've got it on the top right now, but it's not necessarily aligned with the jewel, and that has to be absolutely aligned with the jewel because it's a safety roller. So I need to tweak it to align it with the jewel, and this is going to be very hard because it's so what I'm going to do is put the stake over the top, and as I tweak it, the stake should hold it in place. So the stake will hunt you down. Okay, let me see. I got to get the right stake here. It's the bigger stake. So just going to put that down here. And that way I know the stake is holding it kind of level. And I can make sure that it's completely aligned with the stake on the top there, because I know it's not going to jump off on me again, and I really need to get close here to make sure it is aligned properly. So I may cut away for a second to be able to get other glasses on to look at this. So just bear with me. So I had to do basically put the stake down on there and then press down to basically have that safety roller on the top lined up. And then I use times 10 or times 20 glasses actually to check once, twice, 4 times to make sure it's aligned properly. Now I'm going to look at it from the top and see if it's aligned before I press down again. There, you can kind of see it there aligned, but it's so tricky to make sure that upper safety roller is aligned with the bottom one. So this Hamilton watch is not an easy one to work on. I'm just telling you that. There, now that I have everything aligned, I just simply have to tap it down and pray. It pretty much looks aligned, so I'm going to push it down a bit. And I can see that there's still a little tiny ways to go. So let's just tap on this. There we go. So now I just tap this down, and that should be good there. And let's just let this thing dry overnight. So there we go. So here's a look at it. Let me just turn that around. There you go. And there it is there. Back on. So I used a little shellac around the roller table and the safety roller to put this on, because there wasn't a lot of friction left in the balance staff. So, and of course the worst case scenario here for all of this is that I get my lathe out and I make a brand new balance stack. I don't want to do that because I'd have to cut this one away and start all over again. But if I really had to, I would. So I'm not going to bother putting the hairspring on yet, because this thing just needs to dry, and I don't want to deal with a wet balance. It needs to dry, so I'm not going to finish this watch today, only because I need to let this thing dry properly and then reassemble it after it dries. And the funny thing is that once it's dried, I don't want to test it too much by twisting, because that roller table was on okay and probably wouldn't be a problem once ticking. But if I grab it with the tweezers, I could twist it ever so slightly, and I'm not sure how secure the safety roller is, but I pushed that on as well, and there is some shellac on the safety roller, so that might help. So we'll get back after I've done all this. Everything should be fine and dandy, and this watch, I should be able to put this back into position. So that's it. Again, JD here. Thanks for watching my channel. Thanks for watching this ridiculously complex video. And I'm not sure how long this is, but it's almost 3 o'clock. I might be able to assemble another watch today. But this is, I think, the video for the day. So thanks a lot for watching the channel, and we'll catch you later. Oh, the last thing is, I believe I'm going to leave all this in place and not even remove it. I'm just going to put the staking set away with this on top. That way it can dry and I'm not too concerned about it. And as a quick bonus, let's wind up the old watch here and see if it's still ticking. Look at that. Still works. So I had this running all overnight. It's got a great amplitude. That's the one I showed you already. So still working. So that fix is still good. That's the salesman watch. That was a bonus, I'm telling you.